Alright. Unidentified subject, data 4. Alright, so let's go to the bay and stow away our samples. Alright, let's check out the portal turret. Okay, a water bulb. Tail segment. Ooh, multiple updated. Sweet. Lung crest taxonomy. Cold fire bathers. Or blathers, if you prefer, from Animal Crossing, yeah. We already tried this one? Oh. Apparently we didn't. Did we somehow get an upgrade for the lab? No, okay. Oh. I know you have been reading these. The access log shows someone has been in the file system of my terminal, and well, by process of elimination, has to be you. I don't mind. In fact, I suppose I have been writing these entries for an unimagined or imagined audience anyway. Confessions, or maybe you just need to talk. We make a strange trio now. Me, a depressed xenobiologist, and can't keep her mouth shut. You, an AI built from the remains of a sentient species, and your sister, Minay, sister maybe, who is now more plant than human. But as far as I can tell, we are the only ones on this planet who have any chance of finding out what happened here. I think I am starting to understand why Minay called me here. It was because she trusted me not to give up, not to let this go. Let's not disappoint her. Alright. I am not ready to read all kinds of stuff. You know what? In fact, I didn't consider playing something else in this last hour. But we are underway at this last hour of today into this game. Oh yes. All right. Oh, it's so bright. That's right, we have to relearn the soothe things and the shrill things. Eastern Passage. As the shattered edge of the reef curves away to the east of the currents fade and the static water grows warmer. I can't handle how bright this is right now. Tall canopy. From the cover of this canopy, I can see a series of tall pillars out in the east, each one topped with a garden of unknown life. Strong current. A strong current cuts across the east edge of the shelf with the turquoise haze of the open ocean stretching beyond. Vector blocked. Let me use this. Okay. There we go. So we can plant these long pale green strands. We have to go. These twisted strands are like webs between the pillars. Let's start logging. Feathery creature. Let's just get across. These funny feathery creatures are all around these gardens. Let's start observing their movements. Go for it. Creature track. Sample candidate. Patterns of dents in the sand show the paths of the feathery creatures that cross from pillar to pillar in slow and purposeful loops. Shimmering petals. Sample candidate. In the sunlight, these spade-like petals open themselves wide to light, welcoming gracefully. Look like that. Oops. Oh, what's that? Alright. Ooh. Shed feather. A delicate feather structure found in the pillar gardens. How did these monoliths form? Perhaps they are cores of harder rock which remained when the rest was eroded away. Oh. I've observed these feathered creatures moving between pillars along the web-like plants that connect them. Twisted tendrils. The gaps between the tendrils are webbed with fine strands, almost invisible to the naked eye. Oh wait, the sample. This one also has a sample. Right, pollen. Okay. Oh. Wow. There's a bunch of stuff over here. So we do have to head north. We might as well go up this way, I guess. Silken plant. These trailing plants can be of great length and appear only to grow on the sides of these things. Enclosed water. This patch of water is entirely enclosed by webbed tendrils, and thin strands float above, or float through. Excuse me. And thin strands float through the water like lost hairs. Ew. These entwined tendrils are flat like blades of kelp and hold themselves taut between the pillar tops. Green webs. Between the pillars, bright green webs of twisted tendrils extend, forming thin pathways from garden to garden. Still waters. Green tendrils that enclose this space seem to calm the currents, creating a pool of still water. Observing the underside of these plants, I can see a layer of pores. Stomata, perhaps, for waste release. Maybe. Perhaps. I have observed these plants in shades which stretch from bright green to ivory white. Is this an indicator of their age or health? Pillar garden. This pillar top is thick with waving petals, each one caked in tiny particles of golden pollen. The green tendrils don't seem to reach east beyond this point, preferring instead to turn back into the protected waters south of here. Blue haze, out away from the pillars. The ocean grants a sense of vertigo, fading down into unknown depths below. Barren pillar. This pillar, unlike the others, lacks a garden of its own. Have the plants been cleared, or have they been simply not reached as far yet? Who knows? Vast shape. The light of the system's 3 suns fall onto something amber and huge to the east. It is almost like a pale orange cloud. Ooh. What's that? Shifting tentacle. This translucent tentacle doesn't have a fixed shape. Its individual parts instead cycle through developmental phases as they adhere. Pulsing barrier. This hard barrier is webbed with pulsing nodes. To gain access, we would need to slice through it somehow. Floating colony. These golden yellow streams of life. Oh, hold on. What are we looking at here? This appears to be a huge colonial life form. Is this what remains of Site 1 facility? Let's cut it open. Not until we read about this floating colony. Held suspended in the water. Are these bones, rocks, or something else? Done. This golden colony is overwhelming. Where to even begin? Thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of zoids or zooids make up its shifting interior. Living colony. Behind the barrier, the throbbing interior of the colony is revealed, filled with throngs of zooids acting as one. It seems that the zooids are split into specialized functions and forms, from jellyfish-like medusoids to balloon-like bladders of gas. Ew. Pulsing passage. The vague shape of the facility's walls is preserved by the colony. The spaces between filled with shifting swarms of life. Webbed structure. Beneath the translucent webs of spherical growths, half-digested walls sit suspended, like an exploded room frozen in time. I've never seen a colonial creature of this scale or complexity. Can it really be one single, united creature made of ever-shifting processes? Let's go to the web structure. The interior of this creature is like a golden bubble, the light trapped and refracted by hundreds of purely orbs strung together. Bridges. Between the ragged parts of the facility stretched, looping bridges, pumping liquid back and forth from the heart of the colony. This colony breaks the surface 20 meters above. It must be floating on the surface, its body descending in layers like a living iceberg. Bridges, yeah. Oh, recordings. Tentacle corridor. Sample candidate. The walls are a flowing mass of tentacles. Some have broken away and are floating freely in the water. We might be able to extract them. Budding zoids. Tiny medusoid creatures are budding from the walls here, splitting off from luminous stems to join the flow. Let's see what this transcription is. Emerson. Constantin is too arrogant. Just because he discovered the artificers doesn't mean he can't decide their fate. We read about that in the other facility too. Roth. Sam, he wants to free them. And what do the artificers want, Hannah? Has anyone asked him? Let's go... Yeah, let's get the sample. Nothing out here, okay. Get some zoids. 15% animal. Ah. Colony tentacle. A zoid tentacle sample from a floating colony. Look at us. Grabbing samples. Okay. Fractured lab. In a way, on one side, the remains of this lab are like an open set. A staging ground for the colony's process of sublimation. New species. I'll call this colony Radis. It floats beautifully across this ocean like some impossible vessel. A vast colonial creature made of thousands of specialized zoids. It floats freely in the ocean, its upper section breaking the ocean surface. Clear passage. Why would the colony preserve the rooms of the facility as it consumes him? What bizarre process is in action here? Central lab. The central laboratory is almost complete, apart from the large tree-like growths cutting through its walls. Flowing currents. The hollow structure of the colony allows water to flow throughout its core, creating both bulbous corridors and open halls. Let's see what this transcription is. Oh, from Voight. We can't let this continue. We never intended this. That thing they are building. I know. The fly is buzzing around again. Check out this other transcription here. Sir Konstantin has already left for Site 2. If the facility fails and Site 3 is breached, the oceanic mines can be stopped. It can. Dappled light fills the chamber, passing through its complex branching strands, orbited by swarms of Zoids. It's the colony's heart. This looks like a biologist's laboratory. It must have been the first exploratory base on the planet. They discovered the artificers. They started all of this. These were scientists like me, employed by Bacall to study this place. How did it end like this? The mines they were building and the ecology, the genetic research they were doing here. They were all working towards something bigger than just one lab. How could they have let this happen? These biologists, our first contact turned into a rescue grab, a resource grab. Scan all you can, and then let's leave this place. I'll review everything back at the base. It won't be long before the colony eats this place away, once and for all. Gas bladders. This piece of the lab floats on gas-filled bladder zoids, keeping it buoyant. Some floats in the open water, the perfect sample candidates. Cool, let's grab some samples. 3% animal, 40% zoid. Colony bladder. A gas-filled zoid sampled from floating colony. Can one of these be power? Alright. A little bit of power there. Alright, we can get 3, so we can experiment with 1. Not much power. Okay. Okay. Zoid swarms. These shoals of golden life look solid as I approach, but passing through, they are little more than flurries of petals, caught in a current. Colony opening. The ocean stretches east from here, a blue desert beneath 3 red suns. What might lie out there beyond the range of this suit? Another transcription. Thorfinn. That is absurd, Kevin. They are no different to us, adapting their environment so they may survive. No, they are not us. End. Gas bladders. More gas bladders, holding the remains of a lab in place, like the pieces of a torn map hinting at the history of long ruined structure. Looks like there's a sample here. Colony bladder. Are these the bladders? Colony bladder. Oh, a lot of oxygen, okay. Yeah, not much power though. Okay. Looks like we didn't get a transcription, maybe? Pretty sure we did this one. From some angles, the Zoid clogged walls of the facility line up, and I can imagine the past life of this place with all its human dramas. Maybe we didn't. Clerk. Nope. Their artificers are gardeners, not colonizers. They rewrite genetic code to develop mutilism, to foster life. Room fragment. A fragment of a room, eaten away into some strange sculpture. Hanging in the blue, it's hard to imagine that what this place once was. Zoid flow. Each Zoid has a function within a colony. Their flow back and forth, evidence of some complex process that is impossible to parse. Alright, so Looks like we've done everything. Yeah. Alright. I think she already gave us an out, basically. Okay. Back up. We've been going over the data from the facility. I was right to assume that the facility was the first base on the planet, the start of all of this. The lead biologist, Constantine Heese, found the artificers here more than 30 years ago. But what is truly incredible is what he discovered they could do. Genetic reprogramming, rewriting RNA and DNA, both in themselves and their local environment. Some Earth cephalopods. The artificers tended to this world, nudging its life into new arrangements. Not only that, but their exoskeletons, they were quantum computers. Silicon wafers of incredible complexity and purity, able to simulate the outcomes of their genetic rewriting. The artificers were housed in natural machines, ones that evolved here over millions of years. Their complexity far outstrips our own. We could have learned so much from them. But Bakal wanted the artificers' abilities for themselves. Something happened. Why are there no artificers left? Why the collapse of these sites? We had to visit the other site. The answers are there, I know it. Alright. Store these. Oh, that's something we already have. No relevant taxonomy, okay. Reef cap taxonomy entry updated. Radis colony taxonomy updated. Radis colony, okay. Can we scan more? Okay. And the spiky things. Okay. Okay, there we go. The bloom. Wait, isn't this where all the poison is? Ugh. Here we go. Some serious time. Alright, we just need to head south. Okay. Everything should be scanned, pretty much. We go right? Nope. Grab some samples from this. Help us with some oxygen. Okay. Let's not use it yet. Oops. Grown whole. Thick fibers of microbial growth cobweb the stark entrance to the central ridge. Let's go there. That might be where we need to go. Dense bubbles. Curved walls streaked with cascades of green bubbles, all glassy and silky, or sickly green in the light of the suit's headlamps. Corroded into the tunnel mouth, the seal is stuck fast. The only way in would be to cut straight through. Oh yeah. Oh wait, we can gather some samples from this. Ooh, 15% bacterial. Maybe we can get oxygen from it then. Oops. Got ahead of the game. Oh, it's a bean! Bloom bubble. A bubble growth sampled from deep in the bloom. Okay. Alright, cool. Let's slice it open. This has to be one of the other Bacall facilities. Way ahead of you. Oops. Collapsed chamber. Choked with rock and sand, this metal chamber is deathly still. The angular shapes of industrial machinery lie in wait. Oops. Melted pillars. The pillars which stretch up towards the cavernous roof of the chamber are warped and distorted, barely able to hold the weight. So I'm assuming we won't be able to get oxygen really easily here because it's all red now. Rusting machinery. This kind of hurts my eyes. Hulking machines built for industrial use sit covered in a fine layer of sand and growth. This was a place where people worked. Central vent. I imagine this was once a sealed tube stretching from floor to ceiling, but now it's just a round, ragged hole in the metal floor. Half the rock ceiling above the chamber seems to have come down at once, burying most of the room. Alright, let's go here. Oh, look at that corridor over there. Dive, dive! Crushed room. Whether it was a control room or storage shed, this room has been totally crushed by the facility's collapse. Breach wall. The side of the vast tank has been corroded away, melted by the incredibly dense volume of microbes inside. Derelict vehicle. The shell of some corroded maintenance vehicle is flooded with sand. Its top a garden of microbial growth. Angular plates piled with sand are all that remains of the rooms and structures that divided up this level of facility. Let's go there. Oh boy. Bloom froth. Caved in ceiling. Log tank. The shattered tank is dense in microbes. Oh, what is this place? Be careful, the water will be just as toxic as above. Tank breach. How did a towering metal container split apart so violently? Corroded walls. Let's go this way. Just keep going. Get out of this toxic thing here. Ooh, sampling. Bloom bubble. Oh yeah. Give me that oxygen. I think we want to go there. Oh, his toxins. These pipes, those tanks. This facility was outputting huge volumes of something into the planet's atmosphere. This has to have been a geoengineering project, a way of changing Gliese 667Cs. But looking at this place, it suffered a total collapse. What went wrong? Oh, I didn't read it. Leaning tank. The central tank is held back to sand and rock, but it leans unsteadily toward the hull. North tank. A fully sealed tank rises up through the center of the hall. Its sheer size streaks with growth from the southern tank. Between the overhanging tank and the buckled, twisted walls, a clear corridor leads forward. Okay, let's go this way. It's like a little thing over here. Split containers. Crushed by the rock falls, broken open containers reveal rich patches of microbial growth like miniature gardens. Ooh, transcription. Hello. Control? I'm slicing it before it cascades. Clear the reactor chamber. The bacterial outflow is about to hit. Overgrown suits. A sand-dusted chair props up the remains of a suit, the faceplate clouded with rich green growth. A row of corroded consoles wired up to an umbilical connection, which has been cut away. Silced umbilical. I think it's supposed to say sliced. The connection between this console and the tank is sliced clean through. Is this what stopped it from breaching? Sand drifts. A rising wall of sand leans heavily against the tank, burying tons of equipment and who knows what else beneath the slopes. Transcription. Youngs. Yes, sir. Atmospheric density is increasing ahead of schedule. Please inform the board. They will be pleased. Atmospheric pressure. Access hatch. Yes. Down? Up. Okay. Control room. The rows of sand-choked desks, rusted consoles, and dim monitors make it clear this was a facility's control room. Transcription time. Heath. Oh. No, no. Oh god, the tank is breached. The artificers. I didn't mean... End. Eroded bones, preserved by the low flow of water inside the control room. The smooth-out shapes of human bones are scattered across the floor. Ooh. Here, this is where they controlled this place once. They were changing this planet, manipulating it. These vast tanks of engineered microbes were their tools. Algae changed the atmosphere of Earth billions of years ago. These creatures were meant to do the same. But by accident or sabotage, this containment was breached. These idiots. They could have killed every last species on this planet, eaten up a global bloom. Somehow the reef survived, somehow the stocks held on, trying to revert our mistake. Humans don't deserve this planet. We didn't deserve to find life. I've seen enough. Scan what's left and I'll take a look back at base. Let's find a way out of here. Wow. Oh, we didn't read this. Oof. Alright. Dive recorder. Konstantin? What are you? Step away from the console. I'm sorry. Whoa. CH is, this guy. Emergency hatch. The control room's evacuation hatch hangs open. Piles of rock and sand all around. Another transcription right here. By Badejo. We are doing the artificers a favor. Despite all their abilities, they couldn't manifest this kind of planetary change. Well, they could eventually. I'm sure. Alright. Can we read this one? Oh, despite the cave-in, this console is surprisingly pristine. A cup sitting beside one of the monitors where it was placed decades before. Wow. Still coffee in it? Always think about the coffee. It's constant. Ooh. This was a escape hatch. Cool. Security seal. This is why no one escaped the facility. This tunnel is sealed. The control room's escape route cut off. Knew it. She's gonna tell us. She's still gonna tell us that we need to take out our torch, right? She's like, it's taking too long. They didn't do it. Nope. She learning. Metal corridor, sealed at both ends. This corridor is pristinely preserved, but called decal still visible in the gleaming walls. Security seal. A second seal locks off the corridor at the other end. They made sure no one would escape. Or maybe they thought the poison and stuff wouldn't get out. Concealed tunnel. The tunnel leads out into a small shelf overlooking a rift, discreetly cut into the rock. Oof. Northern rift. Back in the open water, the current at this end of the rift softly pushes against the suit. Gentle nudge. Rift wall. Above the steep rift wall meets the shelf of the bloom. Not sure if we're out high enough to actually get out. Oh, we are. Wait, maybe not? What was that noise? Oh, there was a thing there. I didn't see the button glow over here. Here we go. Bloom shelf. To the northern, green clouds rise up. Or to the north, green clouds rise up. There we go. The familiar sight of bloom that surrounds this shelf and the facility below it. Wow. This is just a few meters away from being a toxic environment. Sheltered waters. Behind the pillars of reef's strong currents are lessened, making a small sheltered stretch of water on this side of the the rift. Right, I think we can be picked up now. Online again? Good. We have a lot to talk about. I've been digging through what we discovered at the facility. What they did there, it's terrible. They could have wiped out all life on this planet. Bacall should have known better than to mess with the entire planet's ecosystem. The failure of the facility was catastrophic. The bloom dominated half of the planet. As far as I can tell, it wiped out the artificers. Think about those skeletons in the bloom. But the rest of the planetary ecosystem reacted somehow, resisted, pushed the bloom back. Based on what we found on Site 1, the artificers must have had a role in this, their final act? An attempt to prepare this world for the catastrophic Bacall unleashed. They died for this planet, and you are all that survives them. Well, perhaps not all. I keep seeing the same thing mentioned in the data, the same term appearing in fragments. The oceanic mind. As far as Bacall were concerned, you were just the beginning, the first mind. The artificers were the key, inscrutable creatures with a quiet power. Able to stimulate, or simulate, predict, then able to change. They could rewrite life itself. For Bacall, the opportunity was provided was clear. While the artificers were like gardeners, caretakers of this world, Bacall imagined something else. An oceanic mind, providing total control of the ecosystem, able to enact their will. That's what they were building when the colony collapsed. And it's still out there, in the deep, powered by the heat of hydrothermal vents. The oceanic mind sleeps. I want to see it for myself. We have to know how this all ended. I've marked the approximate location on a map, way out to the north, deep in the abyss. Let me know when you're ready to see this through. Wow, are we almost done with the game already? I don't know how long this game actually is. I haven't looked it up. Let's do some sample here. Bloom bubble. Multiple entries. All data logged. Ugh. Look how far behind we are. Ugh. Phew. We have 20 minutes left. Okay. So, I'm just curious. How far are out do we have to go? Deep vents. Oh, we could just go there. Can we zoom out? No. Alright, so thinking that this could be the end, I think I want to jump to that bit and I don't know, or we read it and then we finish it next time. We can read all the entries. I mean, we've read the entire game so far. So why stop now, I suppose, right? Alright. Let's read her last entry and then we'll reconsider our decision here. Alright, personal log 072216, Dr. Ellery Voss. I was born on Earth. Born in the city of Ponta Delgada. Out in the Atlantic among the turquoise waters and green slopes of the Azores. I don't know. My father was studying the dying waters, chasing the last known pod of sperm whales to record a final fading image of their impossible spatial language before it was lost forever. My mother was a journalist writing a book on citizens that never found a publisher. We lived there and all along the Atlantic coast of Europe for almost a decade before life became impossible. The storms tearing into the tidal walls, flooding city after city, close twisted in foaming water. We joined the latest waves of refugees, found ourselves beside the Thames, resettled in London. From that privileged viewpoint, I watched our oceans die, and then my parents too. And at some point, once I had left that sad gray planet behind in a string of Bacall contracts, I forgot that turquoise water ever existed. You were born here, and maybe here, things can be different. Pretty optimistic. So I think we have one more log, because there's no scrollable feature on this. I am eager. Alright, I have to be honest. I don't want to read all this. I am very interested in like how much of this is built out. I really want sketches, you know? Really want to see some sketches. That's what I want. Being selfish. So, oh, here's something. Ooh, cool. Thick protective shell. Armored limbs. Mucus-lined bubble crest. Oh yeah, look at all those bubbles. Long crest processing rock and minerals. Looking for sketches. Ooh. Wow, look at that thing. What is this now? Oh, the Radis colony? Is that tentacle thing? Ah. Inflated upper membranes. Colony approximately 70 meters height. Observed zoids not to scale. Pearl carrierzoid. Medusazoid. Bladderzoid. Digestive tentacle. Zoid spawning chains. Gas bladders. This is one of those things that did not hurt us. Oh, oopsie. That was that one. And this was one of the things that hurt us. Water bulb. We looked at that stuff. Alright. Alright, with 20 minutes left of the stream here, I really want to check out the last part of the game here. We are almost at the hydrothermal vents, 3 kilometers down. This has to be close to the suit's range. I can hear the plates cranking. Somehow we are maintaining the atmosphere of pressure inside the hard suit. If we make it back up, we'll be setting a strong first record for deep dives in Gliese 667 seas. There's almost nothing in the water column here, no life to speak of. But the oceanic mind should be somewhere ahead. That's our target. Whatever monster Bacall left us, we are ready. We are so ready. Let's find it. Abyssal plain. Layered with a wispy fog of oceanic ooze, the darkness of the plain is absolute. Metal sediments. Streaks of iron ore have accrued across the seafloor in mark of nearby hydrothermal activity. Basalt crust. There's not enough oxygen down here to use the rebreather, so I am on reserves. The survey data we pulled shows events running along north here, along a ridge. Keep moving. We don't blah blah blah. Edges of volcanic rock poke through the sediment black strips against a bright mineral and metal ores. Sediment snow. A soft drift of sediment flakes catch the suit's lamps, falling from the venting fluid as it spreads through the water above. Oh. What's that? Anhydrate chimney. Black plumes of fluid rise from the crystalline chimney, discolored with yellow sulfur stacks. Look at that. Incredible, look at these things. I remember reading about the discovery of hydrothermal vents on Earth centuries ago. Donnelly, Corliss, and Van Andel, 3 geologists, they never expected to find life in that eternal darkness. And yet there it was. Whole ecosystems we never knew were there, totally independent of the sun's sunlight. They were imagined to be models of alien ecosystems, life in its most extreme forms. But until this planet, that proved to be false. To all humanity, the universe was dead. Damn Bacall for keeping this place from us, for keeping humanity in the dark. Bone-pale sand mounds surround the chimneys like great piles of cremation ash. Chimney cluster. Towering pale spires shimmer with the intense heat of the vents as chemicals are pumped into the water from deep within the planet. The colors subtly changed. Ooh, branching point. Black plumes. Rich in minerals, the black plumes of the vents tower over us, fading into the black of the ocean above. Vent structure. The tiered structure of the vents evidences their eons of incremental growth as deposits build up around them. Let's go there, I guess? Bright bubbles. Gases vent up through the sand, creating these thin strings of bubbles. Hope we get a sample soon. Pyrite crust. The glint of fool's gold catches the lights of the lamps scattered among the talc mountains. Bent debris. Away from the center of the cluster, collapsed chimneys and pillow lava create a landscape of stratified shapes. New chimney. Another vent is beginning to form in the rock here. A low pile of crystalline alhine blah 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 seems to gather. Anhydrate chimney. Close to the vent, masked by shimmering water, I can see the shapes of a distorted creature, long dead. What is that? Let's go there. I don't understand. Where is the life? This ecosystem is totally barren. All these minerals, nutrients, heat, and nothing feeding off of it. How can this be? Could it just be this vent? Let's keep looking. Okay. Guess we picked the wrong route. Cooler water. The intense heat of the vents quickly fades off as it mixes with the cold ocean water. Pillow lava. Mounds of gray rock sit in a bed of pale talc sand. Evidence of ancient volcanic process. Let's go there, I guess. See if anything connects. I'm assuming all these points kind of go around in a circle. Broken chimneys. The rubble of sealed chimneys lies all around. The hydrothermal fluids seeking their exits, forming new vents. Let's go there. See what happens. There's that other connection point. The overhangs shimmer with tapped glasses, reflecting the twisted shapes of strange dead creatures in Spire's base. Okay. There's nothing left over there, I don't think. Let's go to the colds. Okay. Sand plain, out of sight of the vents, hidden in the dark, the heavy silence of seafloor returns. Talc drifts, eons of sediment blanket the seafloor, so pale and empty. The artificial mind Akari was building down here. What was the end goal? Was Bakal hoping to control this whole ecosystem, an entire planetary architecture attuned to feed their needs? An ecology manipulated by the possibility of genetic rewriting, a power stolen from the artificers. An enslaved planet, like Earth. I know now why Mene was secretive. She knew that if they found this place again, that would be it for life here. Another vent chimney, where all life that should... Yeah, cool. Vent debris. Strange tiered and curved rocks sit all around, distorted by tectonic processes and stained with mineral growth. Almost halfway in our oxygen here. Chimney cluster. The surfaces around this vent are thick with sediment, but absent of all life. Even the ubiquitous bacterial mats are nowhere to be seen. Bubble stream. Another barren vent. This place has to be wiped clean. It has been wiped clean. Something is wrong here. What did they do? Bubble stream. Around the base of the vent's gas, bubbles stream out of the cracks, forming pillows which glitter beautifully in the suit's lamps. Tack piles. The bleached sand is almost perversely clean. No life has marked its surface in decades. Another spire sits in the edge of a cluster, filling the water with blackened fluid and lightless bonfire. Lightless? Lightness. Yeah. Calcified corpses. Here, away from the vents, piles and piles of distorted corpses lie, their whirled bones dusted with pale sediments. Oh god, look at these creatures. The bodies. It looks like progressive ossification. The muscles have become bone. The mutations are extreme, like cancerous growths. There's no structure to their anatomy. The mind, is this what it made? These senseless monstrosities? Corpse piles. Radial piles of long dead creatures frozen in crippled states of deformation scar the seafloor. Oof. Biological matter. The corpses become a mass of undifferentiated matter with the occasional shape of a bone or shell, like a tooth growing inside a tumor. Wow. We're approaching something over here. Shattered dome. A vast organic sphere towers over the corpses, its ornate geodesic patterns mirroring those of artificers. Ooh. The mind. Oceanic mind. It's huge. But it's silent. It's been silent for decades. This is no cradle of life, it's a grave. Did they fail? Is this all that's left? A broken mind lying in bed of corpses? They had no idea what they were doing. The arrogance of all this. A whole ecosystem boiled down to nothing, artificers lost to us. These are Bakal's crimes, Akari's crimes. What a waste. Is there nothing left? We should look inside. We should look inside. Oh man. A vast ornate structure grown to the Bakal labs sits broken and dead on the seafloor, its interior a dark cavern. Wow. And we go deeper. And we go even deeper. And deeper. Deeper still. The mine's heart, deep inside the oceanic mine, something flickers in the ruins. Artificer. A small but ornate geodesic exoskeleton lies in the silt. Inside the artificer shifts and reforms with a rhythmic consistency. Is it alive? Is that an artificer? It survived. Or it was born here? Does that mean there are more? It looks dormant. Is it even alive? Wait, do you hear that? It's singing. I can feel... It knows. It knows what we are. And it is afraid. I understand why. Look what humans did here. I'm sorry. Wait, no. Come back. It's gone. We should get going too. We're running down our oxygen. It's a long way back up. Come on, there's nothing left for us here. Kind of a sad ending to this. Okay, time to go. I'm beginning the ascent. So they are still out there, the artificers. This is their planet, and we owe them so much. I suppose it's your planet too, with the mine being a failure, the colony destroyed. You're its last artifact, born here. And now, this is my home too. Mine, Manet's. So much left for me to do, so much to study, so much to understand. Our history here, it is ugly. It's something I don't want to be a part of. But this planet's future, maybe we can have a part in that. Manet gave everything for the truth. Some residual part of the artificers can't change her. But I hope she knows that she succeeded. This place is no longer a secret, no longer Bakal's to control. Thank you, Manet. And thank you, to you, for staying with me, for guiding me. Together I think we can make a change, show humanity Bakal's crimes, make them accountable. We both carry burdens here, but the past doesn't define us. Life continues here despite everything that happened. I can find comfort in that. I think I'm gonna stay. I don't have anything left out there, but here I have Manet. I have you. And I have a purpose. Someone needs to swim these waters to catalog this world. When I was little, I swam every day. I could walk down to the ocean and step into it without a thought. I lost that, degree by degree, as Earth's oceans died. But here, things can be like that once again. These waters can wash all the old ways away. And together, we will see what's left when they do. Gareth Damian Martin. Wow, that was really cool. Yeah, that was pretty fantastic, I think. A pretty tight game loop. Very simple, very effective. I'm surprised they succeeded in ultimately an interface only interaction. And I mean, it was like kind of like reading a novel. I mean, if you actually read everything that's available in the game, you can really paint a picture of this world and start building an empathy for the various creatures and things. Yeah, that was excellent. Oh, Unity. Hold on. There's more. It could be a few weeks before somebody turns up here. It could be Bakal chasing down the transmission signature. It could be someone else entirely passing through the system, picking up my shuttle transponder. Whoever it is, we need to be ready. I want to log everything we can, every species, every sample. I want a wealth of data to show the inhabited systems to the off-world colonies to Earth. They won't erase us, they won't erase this place. We're going to show it to everyone together. So let's start studying. There's a whole ocean to get at, and a few weeks to do it. Okay, I'm ready. Choose your next dive. Commendable to be able to get back into the game, to continue playing. I think this is the end for us here, though. That was very good. If you are interested in picking this up yourself and experiencing this on your own, it is available on Steam. It is currently on sale. I think for $13. The normal price is $15. And it's also available this month on the Humble Bundle, which is also $13. And it took about 7 hours to get through. I think it's definitely worth supporting them. It's definitely worth picking up and playing through on your own. And there seems to be some extra content for you to actually go through and grab some extra like scanning and things like that. So thinking about this from a UI exclusive perspective, the only interactions were interacting with little UI bits and making little choices here and there. Is pretty much just engaging with the available narrative, reading information, getting those experiences with zapping your power, zapping your oxygen, and things like that. The subtle application of intensity as a result of the various environment effects and things like that was enough to drive, like, at least for me in my experience and reading everything and really trying to imagine everything that's happening in the game and everything that we're reading, I think was pretty engaging. I don't think the choices would necessarily mattered. I don't think there were really any real choices in the game. I don't think there's meant to be any choices. I don't think there really would be any choices. I don't think choices were really needed. I think they had their narrative, and they definitely had their desire and how that narrative was going to be interpreted. And I think it came across pretty clearly. I feel inspired from a development perspective. I think it's really cool that they made something so the word passive comes to mind, and I don't mean it in such a way that it's not intended. I mean passive in the sense that they, just like in RimWorld, they kind of describe just enough information for you to imagine something and to kind of allow you as a player to take it further as far as you are willing to take it. And your reaction or your interpretation of the world is entirely up to your, or is directly correlated to your, I just lost a word, investment for your own imagination. And like a novel, like reading, I think it was very successful in creating that space for you to explore. So yeah, so that's In Other Waters.